So this is not the first time that this has happened. This has happened on several occasions. But there's some people out there, when I express maybe some confidence in myself, or maybe when I compare myself to Bruce Lee and where he was before his death to where I am right now, I tend to get a lot of negative criticism. People saying that I'm arrogant. People, wonder, saying things, thinking probably, how dare he compare himself to Bruce Lee, like he's nothing compared to him. It's kind of like saying the statement, some people might say the statement. I got a friend, one of my close friends, he says this, he says the statement all the time, I am God. So he doesn't see God as a higher power, he sees God within himself. And that's the way I see it too. When I see Bruce Lee, yeah, I mean, he achieved a high level. But like I said in the other video that I made, it doesn't mean that he can't be surpassed. And it doesn't mean that what he achieved, you cannot achieve yourself. And we see it within the Olympics all the time. One person sets a world record, 4 years later somebody else breaks it. And then 4 years later somebody else breaks it again. Constantly world records are being broken, year after year. And Bruce set his high standard, but doesn't mean that we can't get to a higher standard than what he achieved. Now, I've had some supporters, some fans in the past that used to admire my work, but then when they saw statements of me comparing myself to the Bruce and seeing the confidence that I expressed, they immediately turned their backs on me. Now, these are not really supporters. These are not really true supporters. True supporters don't turn their backs like that. True supporters have an understanding that, hey, it may sound like he's saying it out of this, or it may seem as if he's being very arrogant. It may seem as if he is not, he's not humble. It may seem as this, but the reality is not that. Clearly the reality is that I know I'm a human being. I know that I have my limitations. And I'm not afraid to express my weaknesses. I know that this is all just a game. And I really don't believe that I'm better than other people. But in the same token, we live in a world that values arrogance. Now, let me say that again. We live in a world that values arrogance. And that is point blank a fact. A fact of life. Now, when people go a little overboard with it, then people start getting really upset. But at the same time, it's what you need to get to survive in this world in order to get to the positions of power that people have gotten to. Can't get in a position of power without the arrogance. We look at some of these people that have reached high levels. If you know anything about Bruce Lee, if you read any of the books that talk about him, all the people that knew him would say that he was an arrogant, cocky-ass bastard. But the difference was that he backed up the things that he said. We look at other people like Mayweather, who hasn't lost a fight yet. A lot of people don't like his ass. They hate his ass because he's so damn arrogant. Right? But at the same time, he hasn't lost one fight. How the hell did he get to the top? But everybody don't like his arrogance. That's what they're talking about. Look at somebody like, so clearly he's one of the best, right, in that sport. Look at somebody like Muhammad Ali, when he was in the boxing, he was one of the most arrogant guys out there. But he did it in a more joking and playful way. But he was an arrogant person, extremely overconfident in everything that he did. So you got, his nickname is the greatest, and then you got Mayweather, who hasn't lost a fight, and then you got Bruce Lee, who is considered probably the best known to be one of the best martial artists to ever live. All three of those people are arrogant as hell, right? And then you got Michael Jordan. I mean, how did he get to his level when he was in his prime? I mean, he had some arrogance in him. You got Kobe Bryant, who is like pretty much the new Michael Jordan, who's extremely talented in what he does, and you see the way that he holds himself, he's very arrogant. So how do all these people that are considered the greats, then they're all arrogant? It's because they have confidence in what they do, but they might be a little overboard with that confidence, and then that turns into arrogance. But who can achieve that level without that confidence? Without that confidence, you wouldn't even have you won't even feel like you have the self-worth to even get to that level, so you wouldn't even try. And those are the people that end up living their life in fear, or those are the people that are very insecure. Those are the people that never feel that they're good enough. So when people say, oh, I don't support you anymore because you're arrogant, you know what? They don't understand anything about what I'm trying to do, or anything about my teachings as a whole. Humbleness and arrogance, they come hand in hand. They come together. You cannot have one without the other. And throughout life, you are constantly going to be learning about these two. And you are going to almost hate the part that you wish to suppress within yourself. So you may be suppressing all this arrogance within and giving everybody this facade that you're so humble, and then you see somebody else that's being arrogant, and then you hate that person. It's because you are turning against yourself, something that you don't like within yourself, so you suppress it, and when you see other people expressing it, you hate them. But really, it's pretty much indicating to you what you need to work on in order to fully develop yourself, in order to understand the relation between humbleness and arrogance, because they go hand in hand. Humbleness is not something that you could strive to be, because as soon as you strive to be humble, that's just masking your own arrogance. And like as I stated, to be completely spiritual in this world that we live in, it's almost impossible, because you're stuck into this game, into this system, into this capitalism, into this money game thing, into this way of self-promotion, into this business mentality, into this buying and selling and trading, that you are forced to make a living, and you are forced to sell yourself. No matter if you sell yourself to another employer to work for him, to prove to him that you're capable of helping them generate money, or no matter if you create your own business and sell yourself for the services that you have to offer or whatnot. Either way, you are thrown into the system, and you have to participate in this game. And while participating in this game, you have to develop that confidence in what you do. So there's no way around it. There's no way. And the only reason, another thing is, if people hate Mayweather so much, then why is he making so much money? So many people talking trash about him. Why is he making so much money? People hate arrogance so much, then why are these arrogant people making so much damn money? Clearly, it's the self-hatred that the people are directing towards the people that they label as arrogant. Now, yes, I don't like arrogance either. But we all need to develop confidence. And while we develop confidence, there will be imbalances. Sometimes we become too arrogant, too confident. Sometimes we are too inconfident. We don't believe in ourselves enough. And it's a constant balance to try to get to that midpoint. And when I express myself, I'm just saying facts. When I compare myself to certain people that have gotten to a high level that I have been inspired by, just stating facts. What have they done that I can't do? If they could do something that I can't do, then hey, you know, I use that to serve as inspiration for me to get to a high level. But if I could do things that they cannot do, or they could not do when they were living, then clearly I'm getting up there. And eventually I'm going to catch up, because if they're dead, they can't improve anymore. Their growth is stunted. It's stopped. And I can keep going because I'm still living. So clearly, if I'm still living, I can still get to a higher level because I still got time to grow. So clearly, someone like Bruce can be surpassed on the physical, mental, and spiritual realm. Now, yeah, to match his level of fame, it's not going to happen, because the mysteries of death turned him into a legend, and that can't really be surpassed. But as far as what he was capable of doing, what he was able to do with his body, and his understanding of the philosophies and way of living, that can clearly be surpassed, just like they've done in the Olympics. And I see that Bruce, he did a lot of, he hit a lot of the stuff he did. He didn't want people to measure up to him, so he just didn't put himself in any test out there. Now, I have a problem with testing, having to hurt other people in order to demonstrate what you do. But I don't have a problem with peacefully demonstrating your talents. So, for example, his 1-inch punch, his 2-finger push-ups, those are like peaceful demonstrations of talent. Now, he could have done more than just that. He could have done fitness feats, such as, how many pull-ups he could do, how many push-ups he could push out, how many bicep curls he could do, how much he could do in the bench press, how much he could squat, how high he could jump. Things like that could be measured. But he didn't do any of that. So he puts everybody in question. But clearly, the reason why he didn't do that is because he didn't want to be measured up. And really, I have no problem taking tests to show where I'm at. Because when I take a test, I know where I'm at and what I got to do to improve, to get better than where I'm at. As long as it's a peaceful test. And that's what I've constantly been doing. But you got people out there that don't want to take the test. There might be these bodybuilders that look very strong, but they don't want to lift the weight because then people can see how weak they really are. So they stay away from the weights. They just want to show off their muscles, but they don't want to demonstrate what, you know, they don't want to demonstrate nothing because they know that what they have is not real. And that's what I see with a lot of people out there. And a lot of people out there, they're hiding their weaknesses by beating other people up. You know what I'm saying? Like, say you're an 18-year-old or you're a 25-year-old and you're beating up on a 16-year-old and you make yourself feel so good about it because you're beating somebody up. But really, you're doing that because you're weak. There's a lot of things that you can't do. And that's why to make yourself feel better, you got to beat somebody up. But if you're really strong and you're really capable in what you know and what you do, and you're really athletic, then you don't need to beat people up. You can just use your own body as a demonstration to show people what you're capable of. And that's what I'm promoting, for people to demonstrate their abilities in a more peaceful way, not having to beat people up. But clearly, if say you can't even bench press your own weight, how could you claim yourself to be the ultimate martial artist? How can you claim yourself to even be a black belt martial artist? How can you claim yourself to be a master sensei or grandmaster or whatever? How can you claim yourself to be so mysterious with your power, with all this amazing chi energy crap? If you can't even bench press your own weight, you clearly need to develop yourself in that area, because that is a clear weakness within you. And every human being, there's weaknesses. And all you got to do is find a weakness within each human being, and then you'll see that they're just human. They're nobody special. They might be good at this, this, and this, but there's still something that they got to work on. So, we should not be idolizing anybody. Everybody has their weaknesses. Albert Einstein was very intelligent, right? But look at his physical state. Not as extraordinary. His spiritual, not as extraordinary. And that's what I see, is that we got to stop focusing on the people around us and start focusing on our own development and see what we need to work on to better ourselves. But it is nice to have certain people as gauges and measures of see where the human potential can be. And that's all I do when I do bring Bruce Lee up sometimes, is because he's a good measure. But like I said, doesn't mean that he can't be surpassed. And that's where I'm that I'm heading towards, or already got to, in certain respects. But it doesn't mean that I disrespect. It doesn't mean that I don't value him as a teacher. But like I stated, once somebody dies, their growth is stunted. It's over. And that makes it so much easier for people to catch up. But if he kept living and he keeps progressing, then as he progresses and everybody progresses, he's still going to have a lead. But once he dies, the people are eventually going to catch up. And it's going to keep going. And that's essentially what ends up happening, is that people inspire others to get to higher levels continuously. Just like the discoveries of Einstein inspired scientists after him to keep building upon his discoveries. And that's how we are supposed to grow as humans. Until a governmental force or some type of marketing structure comes in and hypnotizes us and brainwashes us or whatever to take away our progression and putting us lower. And that's kind of what the MMA does, and this combat sport, things like that. Smoking, drinking, gun violence, all this other stuff is hindering our progression, and it cuts us down. So then that's why we look at somebody like Bruce to be up here, because we're so far down. But as you progress and you get away from all this junk, you can clearly surpass Bruce and become your own Bruce Lee. So become the God. Express the God within you. And that's what I promote everybody to do. To express their inner strength, their inner talents, their inner creativities with confidence. So if people want to hate me for being confident, that's okay. Because I don't need them in order to feel the confidence that I have within. It's already there. And that's the beauty of not being dependent on the people outside of you to give you confidence. The confidence is already in you.